Hello fellow Amiga users, Bill here. Come with me today as we install Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition on a Windows PC. Alright guys, I'm flying solo today. Anthony's away visiting family for the holidays. Speaking of the holidays, I hope you all had a great holiday. I sure did. I made out like a bandit. I got what's called the New to Amiga bundle. And it's from a new Amiga store in upstate New York called Amiga on the Lake. Yeah, believe it or not, there's like a new Amiga store in New York. It's incredible. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the only Amiga store in the United States. So I'm really psyched that I can support these guys. Now, the New to Amiga bundle has three things in it. It's got Amiga Forever 2016, Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition, and Krzysztof Radzikowski's book on Amiga OS 4.1 Emulation. Now, up until now, I never really thought about running Amiga OS 4.1 because it always needed like real Amiga hardware with a PowerPC accelerator in it or an Amiga 1 computer. And you know what? I don't have either of those. So I was just like, Amiga OS 4.1 is kind of out of the question for me. But this year something cool happened. With Amiga Forever 2016, they now give you support for emulating a PowerPC Amiga. And this opens up the door to run Amiga OS 4.1 on this emulator, which is super, super cool. Now, I had no idea how to do this, but in Krzysztof's book, he outlines the instructions really well on how to install it for Windows, for Mac, and for Linux. Now, if you don't know who Krzysztof is, he's the host of AMICast Podcast. It's an Amiga podcast. It's a great show. You gotta check it out. I'll put the link to the show in the show description of this video. I'll also include a link to where you can purchase a PDF version of Krzysztof's book. So today we're just going to follow along with his instructions. First, we're going to install Amiga Forever 2016 in Windows 10. Then we're going to set up a virtual PowerPC Amiga and install Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition on it. Let's do this. Alright guys, I'm over here now. I'm over here in Amiga Workbench 3.1. Psych! I'm not really in Workbench 3.1. We're actually in Windows 10. I just have my beautiful Workbench 3.1 wallpaper up looking gorgeous as always. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is install Amiga Forever 2016. Now, why Amiga Forever 2016? Well, Amiga OS 4.1 is designed to run on real Amiga hardware with a PowerPC accelerator or an Amiga 1 computer. And Amiga Forever 2016 is the first edition of Amiga Forever to include emulation support for an Amiga with a PowerPC accelerator. Let's open it up and see what's inside. We've got 3 DVDs. We got DVD 0, DVD 1, and DVD 2. Now, DVD 0 is a data DVD, and it's got the actual Amiga Forever software on it. And DVDs 1 and 2 are video DVDs, and they have videos of launch of Amiga. They have Dave Haney's deathbed visual video. So lots of cool extras in this premium edition of Amiga Forever. For now, we're just going to focus on DVD 0. Hey Bill, why is there pink tape on your DVD? Well, that's because that's my product key under there. Again, guys, I'm not an expert with Amiga OS 4.1, never even installed it before, so we're going to take this journey together. I'm going to be following along with Krzysztof's instructions that he provides in his book on Amiga OS 4.1 Emulation, and hopefully we'll have Amiga OS 4.1 up and running really soon. Alright guys, so I popped in the Amiga Forever install disk. Let's go open it up. Opening it up, Amiga Forever. Alright, Amiga Forever 2016. As you can see, we have a bunch of options here. We can play from medium, install Amiga Forever, install Amiga Explorer, documentation, browse directory, or Amiga Forever homepage. Play from medium means you can play it directly off the DVD without installing it. Installing means installing on your hard drive. Install Amiga Explorer is a networking component to connect a real Amiga to the PC. Documentation is exactly that. Browse the directory is just going to open up a Finder window so you can see the files on the disk, and the Amiga Forever homepage takes you to the Calanto's homepage for Amiga Forever. So obviously we're just going to do a regular install, so we're going to click Install Amiga Forever. Alright, here's the Amiga Forever setup wizard. The setup wizard will install Amiga Forever on your computer. To continue, click Next. Here's the license agreement. I accept the license agreement. Now it's asking for my name, organization, and license key. So I'll enter in this info. All right, we're all set there. Next. Setup type. Choose the setup type that best suits your needs, complete or custom. I'm going to go custom. I always like custom. I like to know exactly where things are going to go and exactly what's happening. So I'm going to go custom. Next. Custom setup. Select the program features you want installed. I want everything installed. So I'm just going to hit next. Destination folders. Now it's saying where it's going to put the executables in Windows and the Amiga files. Now I'm going to change this a little bit because it wants to put it on my C drive, but I've got an external drive that I want this installed on. So I'm going to change the path, but I'm going to keep the directory name the same. So it wants to put it in a directory called Amiga Forever. So I'm going to click change, and I'm going to go down to my E drive, which is where I want to put it. And I will make an Amiga Forever folder in here. Okay, there we go. So it's going to go to install in E Amiga Forever. And then the Amiga files, I'm also going to change that over to the E drive. New folder, Amiga files. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the executables are going to go to E Amiga Forever, and the Amiga files are going to go to E Amiga files. Perfect. Next. File associations. Select the file types to be associated to the Amiga Forever player. I'm going to leave them all checked. I want all of these to be associated with Amiga Forever. I can always change it later, but I'll leave it everything associated with Amiga Forever for now. Next. Ready to install the program. All right, the wizard is ready to begin installation. Click install. Here we go, guys. Install Amiga Forever. And now it's asking me, Windows is asking me, is it okay to let Amiga Forever make changes to my device? Yes, it is okay. And we're off to the races. All right, excellent. The setup wizard has successfully installed Amiga Forever. Click finish to exit the wizard. And we have three options here. Open the Amiga Forever player, read the documentation, or show the Windows installer log. We definitely want to open it up. So that's already checked off. Click finish. And here we are in Amiga Forever. Amiga Forever defaults to showing you the tip of the day. I like that. It's always fun. I always learn something new. You can check this box or uncheck it depending if you want that feature or not. I'm just going to close the window for now. I'm also going to make the window a little bit bigger here. There we go. A little bit easier to read. Now here, this is the main window in Amiga Forever. All the files over here on the left, it says Amiga files. We have pre-configured games, demo scene stuff, systems, a photo gallery, and video gallery. But we're going to take a look at systems for now, and these are all the pre-configured versions of the Amiga that you can emulate. So we have a 1000, a 2000, 500, 3000, 500 plus, CD-TV, 1200, 4000, 600, CD32, and then you have different workbenches, and you even have stuff like Aros that you can emulate. The one that we're particularly interested in here is the Amiga 4000 PPC. So we want to take a look at this configuration. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this configuration because we're going to modify it a little bit. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to say create copy. Okay, so now we have a copy of our Amiga 4000 PowerPC configuration, but this is going to be our Amiga OS4.1 configuration, so I'm going to go ahead and rename it. I'm going to right click, edit, and I'm going to call it Amiga OS4.1 Final Edition. Perfect. Now, Krzysztof warns us in his book that the default hard drive, the HD0 hard drive that Amiga Forever sets up is 300 megabytes. And that's not going to be big enough. He wants us to change it to 1000 megabytes. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we do that by clicking over here on the Media tab. Click Media tab, and here it is. It shows us that DH0 is a 300 megabyte HDF file. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. Would you like to also delete the embedded file? Yes, we want to delete the file. We don't need this 300 megabyte virtual hard drive. Okay, cool. So now we want to add a 1000 megabyte hard drive. So we go down here to add the disk. And the type of disk that we're going to add is a hard disk image file. And we are going to create a blank one. And the type is hard disk, RDB, perfect. The capacity is going to be 1000 megabytes. And location, now this is interesting. You can choose either embedded or external. Now we're going to go external. And the reason for this is that it's going to create an HDF file, which is a hard drive file. And that file can be contained inside the RP9 file. So our Amiga OS4.1 RP9 file can have the hard drive file contained inside of it, sort of like a zip file kind of situation. But in this case, we want it to be external. There's a spot on my real hard drive where I can keep all my HDF files, so that's where I'm going to put this external HDF file. Krzysztof recommends doing it this way because he says it runs a little bit faster, and I like the idea of being able to see a list of all the hard drives I created all in one place on my real Windows hard drive. So we're going to go location external, perfect, and now we can give it a name and put it in a path. So we'll click on these three dots, and it's pointing to my E drive, perfect, Amiga files, shared, HDF, so all my hard disk files will be in this folder, perfect. So I'm going to call this hard drive file Amiga OS4.1 Final Edition 1000 megabyte. Cool. All right, we'll save this. Perfect. We'll hit OK to create the blank disk. And Krzysztof recommends keeping everything else at the default settings, so we'll do that. And we'll just hit OK. And there it is. It's showing us our DH0. It's going to be our 1000 megabyte DH0 disk. And we're all set here. We're all set with the configuration of our Amiga OS4.1 setup file, so hit OK. Boom, and there it is, Amiga OS4.1 Final Edition configuration. Now it's time to install the real Amiga OS 4.1. Alright, so let's check out our Amiga OS 4.1 kit. Comes in a nice case. Open it up, and we got a few things in here, a few goodies. We got the Amiga OS 4.1 CD disc. We've got a floppy disk, which is awesome. We got a sticker, which is cool. I'm going to be putting that on my PC. And under the floppy disk, we have a boot guide. Now, this floppy disk is for installing Amiga OS 4.1 on a real machine. We're not going to need this since we're doing it via emulation. There is an ADF file of this floppy disk on the CD, and we're going to copy that over to our PC and start the installation with that ADF file. Now, if you're not sure what an ADF file is, it stands for Amiga Disk File, and it's basically a bit-for-bit copy of a floppy disk in a file format that you can read on a regular PC. So this disk is actually an ADF file on the CD. So next step is to pop in the CD and get the installation cooking. Okay, so I just put the install CD into my cd-rom drive, and I'm going to go grab that ADF file. So we'll go to my computer, we'll go to the DVD drive, and there it is, bootfloppy.adf. So that is the ADF version of that floppy disk. I'm going to click on that, click copy, close this window, go back to my PC. We're going to go to E drive, Amiga files, shared, and there's a folder here for our ADF files, so we're going to put it in this folder. Then we're in here. There's also there's already a bunch of ADF files in here, so we're going to add this boot disk to it. So we're going to click paste, and there it is, bootfloppy.adf. Now we're going to close this, and we're going to go back to Amiga Forever and start up our virtual Amiga OS4.1 PowerPC. So we're back in Amiga Forever. And to start any of these systems, you just highlight the one you want. In this case, it's the Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition configuration, and you click Play. PowerPC boot. It says that this PowerPC does not seem to have a bootable partition. Now that's fine. This is totally normal. It doesn't have a bootable partition yet because we haven't formatted the disk and we haven't installed the OS. So that's cool. Let's just hit OK. Windows is Windows firewalls block some features of this app. I am just going to allow it access, hit allow access, done, and let's bring our window over to a place where it's easier to see. I'm going to hold down escape key, which will free up my regular cursor. I'll bring our Amiga PowerPC window over here so it's easy to see. Now we're going to virtually insert our boot floppy and our install CD. So we just navigate down here to this ghosted out image of the floppy disk, and we go to Insert, From File. And up pops our ADF file folder, and we will navigate down, and there's our bootfloppy.adf file. Click on that, open. Perfect. Now that disk is virtually inserted into our Amiga. And now we're going to insert the install CD. So we click on the CD, and we go to what we want to release G. I'm not sure what's in there now. And we want to use physical drive G. So it's actually going to use the physical disk. So instead of using an image file like we used for the floppy, we're going to use the actual CD that you saw in that case. So we'll click use physical drive G. And now we're all set. So time to reboot the Amiga. That's the reboot button right there, and we'll hit reset. Emulated system will be reset. Please confirm. OK. Now our virtual PowerPC Amiga is rebooting. You can see the floppies being accessed down here with the flashing green light as well as the CD. All right, Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition booting up. Excellent. Loading Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition Kickstart. Awesome. Excellent. Those multiple colors were the PowerPC chip kicking in according to Krzysztof. Booting up. Excellent. This is exciting. Welcome to the Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition installation CD. Awesome. So we have 4 choices here. Top choice. Set the location and key map of your computer and have the CD boot up in the language of your choice. Number 2, start the hard disk preparation utility and configure your drives and partitions. Number 3, start the Amiga OS 4.1 installation utility. And finally, we can continue and start Workbench directly from the CD. So the one we want here is start the Amiga OS 4.1 installation utility. So I'm going to click back into the emulator here and click start the Amiga OS 4.1 installation utility. The default localization settings are still in effect. This will result in the installed system using location United States, layout American. Do you wish to change this before installation? No, I don't want to change it. Stick to the defaults. So we'll click use defaults. Working on installation. Please wait. Welcome to the Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition installation utility for classic Amigas. This program will guide you through the installation of Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition onto your classic machine. Please note that this requires a clean 600 megabyte partition. Upgrading from a previous installation of Amiga OS, including Amiga OS 4.0 and Amiga OS 4.1, is not supported. If you haven't done so, it is advisable to make a backup of your files now. Alright, well we're clean here, so we're just going to move forward. Let's click Next to continue with the installation. And here's the software license agreement. Click the checkbox, yes, I agree. Next. This is a warning that the JX file system is not supported anymore and is obsolete. In this situation, totally fine. Don't use the file system anyway. Next. Please select the model of your Amiga. It defaults to the Amiga 4000, and that's the one that we want. So make sure the radio button is checked for Amiga 4000, and we click Next. Amiga OS 4.1 needs to be installed on an empty partition. It is recommended that you adhere to a certain layout of partitions as described in the installation guide booklet. I'm just going to stick to what Krzysztof says, and we're going to click on Format Disks. Please select the device to format. Here's our DH0, 999 megabyte capacity. We'll click on that one. Continue. Now we can give it a name. We'll call it Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition. Cool. I'm going to leave all these defaults. You can choose fast file system, put the trash can international mode. Krzysztof says just to leave the defaults for now, and we'll click Quick Format. Warning, all data will be lost. That's okay, there's nothing on it. Format. Warning, do you really wish to format the disk in device DH0? Yes, we really want to format it. I really want to install Amiga OS4.1. Let's go. Alright, disk is formatted. Next. Select the partition to install Amiga OS4.1 on. DH0 is what we want. It's all selected. Perfect. Next. Graphics card. Amiga OS4.1 supports a wide variety of graphics cards as well as the native AGA chipset. Please select your graphics card below. Picasso 4 is what we want. Let's see what we have here. Picasso 4, Piccolo, SD64, Pixel 64, the Retina BLT. Love me some BLT sandwiches. Spectrum, the Voodoo PCI, Radeon PCI, Permedia 2 PCI, AGA, Cybervision PPC, Blizzard Vision PPC, Cybervision 3D, Cybervision 64. Lots of options here. Domino, Graffiti, Merlin, Picasso 2, Picasso 4. Wow, lots of options, but we want Picasso 4. Alright, the boot VGA kernel module can be used to force the native Amiga output to use 31 kHz, suitable for standard VGA monitors. This means you do not need a scan doubler or 15 kHz monitor connected in order to use the AGA output. It's not really going to apply to us because we're not connecting like a physical monitor to a physical Amiga, but Krzysztof says to leave the include boot VGA checkbox checked. So we'll do what Krzysztof says. Whatever Krzysztof says, man, we're in your hands, Krzysztof. Next. Please indicate the maximum frequencies your monitor supports. Amiga monitor 15 kHz, 800 by 600, 800 by 600 60 Hz, 38 kHz. So we have a lot of options here, but we're going to navigate to 1920 by 1080 since this is a 1920 by 1080 monitor and Windows 10 setup that I am using. There we go, 1920 by 1080, 60 frames per second, 67 kHz. Perfect. Next. If you have the IDE fix, checking the box below will enable the second pair of devices to be enabled when you boot into Amiga OS4.1. We can leave that blank for now. We don't need the IDE fix. If you have nothing connected to your Cyberstorm PPC SCSI controller, you can save a bit of memory by not loading the device kernel module. But I know Krzysztof left this checked, so let's leave it checked. Next. Some Amiga Technologies A1200 and A4000T machines have floppy drives that are not recognized correctly when the disk resource checks for their presence. If you check the checkbox below, then Amiga OS4.1 will fix this problem internally and always report DF0 to be present. Normally this fix is not required in a desktop A4000 machine. According to Krzysztof, we do not need to load the floppy fix, so leave that box unchecked. Next. According to Krzysztof, these are enhancements of the operating system, and we do not need to check either of these boxes. So we can leave both these blank and go next. Alright, and finally we have our installation summary. Amiga model 4000, install destination is DH0, our graphics card is a Picasso 4, driver name Picasso 4, add boot VGA module, enforce the 31 kHz output. Our monitor is 1920 by 1080, 60 frames per second, 67 kHz, and load the Cyberstorm PPC device. You are ready to install. Click on the next button. Awesome, guys. Here we go. We're doing the install for real now. And here we go, installing Amiga OS4.1 Final Edition. Again, I'm going to skip ahead because this could take a while. 97% there, almost done, guys. 99%. Configuring your new system installation. This will only take a few moments. Please wait. All right. Done. Click next to continue. Awesome. Okay, now it's asking me to remove all floppies and cd-roms from the machine and perform a cold reboot. Okay, no problem. So to do that, I'm going to hold down the escape key for a few seconds, release my Windows mouse pointer, and I'm going to go down here to the CD, and I'm going to release G. Now I'm going to eject our floppy disk. Now there's no disks in our virtual machine. It says have fun with Amiga OS4.1 Final Installation. Wow. Alright, let's click finish. I'm going to reactivate my emulated mouse and finish it up. It's going to reboot the Amiga. PowerPC chip activated. Yeah, Amiga OS4.1 Final Edition. Booting it up for the first time. Wow. Wow. And there we have it. You have successfully installed Amiga OS 4.1 Final Edition. Further configure options are listed below. Alright guys, we did it. We got Amiga OS 4.1 running on our Windows PC. This is amazing. I never thought this was possible. You know, I always thought you needed like real Amiga hardware with the PowerPC accelerator or a Amiga 1 computer. But here we are on a Windows PC running Amiga OS 4.1. This is just awesome. I have no idea what to do now. We can click around a little bit. I'm going to check Krzysztof's book and see what he says about these settings. Sweet. Devs, documentation, emulation, MUI made us a magic user interface, internet, storage, system. Sweet. Oh look, we can open up a shell. Open up a shell. Nice. Let's do a DIR. Oh yeah. Looking good. End shell. Boom. Alright. Feels like the old system to me. Close that. Close that. Alright guys, well that about wraps it up. I think I'm going to stop here for now. We got the OS 4.1 successfully installed, which is like a really big step. And you know, I hope to do more with this. If you guys like this video, maybe I'll do another one on installing OS 4.1 on my Mac. And if I get further into it, I can do another video about OS 4.1 basics. But hey, I just installed this, so I don't know anything about OS 4.1 yet. Thanks for coming on this little journey with me, guys. Again, this new to Amiga beginners bundle is pretty awesome from Amiga on the Lake. It comes with the Amiga Forever Premium Edition 2016, and the Amiga OS 4.1 physical copy. And the best part is Krzysztof Radzikowski's book, Amiga OS 4.1 Emulation. Definitely check out Krzysztof's podcast. It's called AMICast. It's a really great show. Krzysztof is a super cool guy, and as you can see, his step-by-step instructions work like a charm. Thanks so much guys for checking out the video. Looking forward to all your questions and comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. We have a lot of really cool things coming up for the Guru Meditation this year. Stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Guru Meditation.